Hey y'all, so last week we talked about Dorothea Lange. We spoke a little bit about photojournalism, but we mainly focused on contrast framing and the rule of thirds. Just to be clear about last week's assignment, I was not looking for a drawing. I was looking for a photograph like this one here. And I know that your options are limited either in the classroom at home, but I took this photograph of my bathroom lights. And I really liked the way that it turned out. So we still need to keep in mind everything we learned from that last week, but this week we're going to focus more on the photojournalism piece, or the story behind the photos. So photojournalism is documenting history or the events happening around you using photographs and telling your story through those photographs. So believe it or not, COVID is not America's first pandemic. We actually had the Spanish flu in 1918 to April of 1920, and the photographs you're looking at now documented what life was like during the Spanish flu pandemic. So you can tell from these photographs that a lot has changed since then, but there's a lot of similarities between back then and now. And we know this not just from our written history, but also from these photographs. Based off of what you can see in these photographs, what do you think life was like during 1918? And how different is it from now? Do you think the people in these photographs called 1918 the worst year ever, like we do about 2020? So now's your chance to tell your story or your part of history, pandemic and all. So for this assignment, I need 5 photographs from you that tell a story. Now, I'm not going to make you write about each photograph. We're going to eventually end up choosing one, but you need to be prepared to be able to write a paragraph explaining that story for each picture. So these photographs could document what life was like during COVID, or they could be simple stories that mean a lot to you. This photograph that you see right now is of my daughter, and she recently discovered that things smelled differently. So we bought her a couple of different candles, and so she could practice smelling each one. And these were her favorite candles. She would just sniff them and then laugh uncontrollably. And I thought it was a good memory to keep. You've got to find some way to keep yourself entertained when you're stuck inside all the time. You may have noticed that all 5 pictures I chose are of my daughter. And it is okay to submit pictures of your family members only as long as your parents have given written permission. Otherwise, I don't want to see any faces. It can be the back of people's heads, their bodies, but no faces unless you have parental permission. Keep in mind that even though you're taking pictures to document history and tell a story, you also have to keep those design elements in mind, like the contrast, the framing, and the rule of thirds. The best photographs have a great story, but they're also interesting to look at. I can't wait to see all 5 of your photographs that tell your stories. And if you have a question about any of the pictures in this video or want to learn more about their stories, feel free to message me in Seesaw or Class Dojo.